last one, baby. Wilcoxon. Sine. Rank. Test. Okay, this is a situation that's very similar to a paired t-test. Yeah, that is the idea that we have data that is dependent. For instance, twins. For instance, we had before and after situations. That's what I'm going to do today on mine. Is I'm going to do a before and after test. And so, yeah, just before and after. Again, why would I be using ranks on this? Again, if my data is not terribly normal. This is times in a how long it takes someone to walk a mile, I guess. I don't know. Just making this data up as I go, like I do most days. And then after I train them, get them in shape, what have you, that seems weird. Of course, that weirdo popped up, got larger time. That's pretty weird. Oops, that's kind of ridiculous. Get your decimal in the right spot, dummy. There we go. That's just weird. I mean, but there's always got to be some clown in the group that's going to mess everything up for the rest of us, right? I mean, that's how life goes, I guess, huh? This guy, look at that. I cut a ton of time off of him, and then not so much off of this person. Okay? So what we're going to find is the differences. Just like we did when we did the paired t-test, that part is 100% the same. So I'm going to do before minus after. Boom. And so here's my differences. Done. Okay? Now, what I want to do is I would like to rank these differences. However, I would like to find the absolute value of the differences so that they're all positive. And you're like, can the computer do absolute value? Yeah, it equals ABS. So take the absolute value of that number. Boom, there they are. Cool. Hey, I know, let's rank the absolute value of the differences. Okay, we can do that too. So same thing we've been doing, equals rank dot average of this guy with respect to that guy's population, F4, comma 1, and then paste it down. Now here's where it gets a little different. Signed rank. So what I want to do, you see this time, is I want to actually rank the signs. I want to put the sign, the plus or minus, I want to put it on the ranks. So what I'm going to do is equal sign, right, of this difference. And then I'm going to take and times that, times this guy right here. Ah! What happened? Something weird happened. Oh, because I put a negative in front of it somehow. I'm like, no, that's not right. Anyway, when I paste it down, you will see the ones that are negative in this column are going to be negative here. So it's just negative 1, if you will, times this, and positive 1 times this. Okay? And so what you can do is you can do a couple of things. You could take your calculator, just add up the negatives. Obviously, the negatives add up to negative 5. Okay? That's the sum of the negative ranks. And then some of the positive ones, again, you could add it up, you know, in your calculator or whatever. There's a cool one is this. So if you've never used this formula, I really like it. Let's see if I can make it happen. I want to sum this range, comma. I think I want to do this greater than 0. Is that right? I think. Oh, that might have been the problem. Oh well, not a big deal. So this 14, that's 19, 26, 35, 45, 50, I think, for the sum of the positives. Okay. Just a minute, that's going to bother me. You should be able to do that easy. I should be able to do this. Equals sum if. I want to sum up this range, comma, I think it needs to be this, greater than 0. Yay, it works. And then you can do the other way around too. Equals sum up this range if, and then you just go hash da 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 da. Ta-da! Yay, it works. Woohoo! Anyway, that's what we're gonna do. And then, okay, you're like, well, Jay, what are we testing? Well, as always, we need an H naught. So H naught is there is no difference. There's no difference. In this case, before and after, right? Before and after. Okay. If it's a two-tailed test. Now, could it be a one-tailed test? Yeah, you bet it can. You bet it can. So it really becomes just a z statistic. Okay. So here's the deal. So the z is equal to, and you're like, oh, another z-score. I love z-scores. Yeah. Be careful what you wish for. What a mess. Okay? And that is the deal. Now you're like, well, what do the things mean? N is the number of pairs whose difference is not 0. Number of pairs who are not the same. In other words, whose difference not equals 0. So you come back over here to my deal. I didn't have any 0 differences. You see that? I didn't have any, not one. So I counted them all. So in my case, there'd be 10 would be my N. Okay? Okay, everything's based off of that, you'll notice now. So then let's finish this baby out here. We'll worry about the WS in a moment. So it's going to be 10 plus 1 is 11 divided by 4. So it's 100. It's 10 times 11 divided by 4. Oh, I hate you. 27 halves. So 27 and a half. There we go. Nice. And on the bottom we're going to have 10 times 11 times 21 divided by 24. Oop, that's 30. 24 to the 0.5, which is the square root of 9.8. Ah. Stop it. Oh, there it is. There we go. Cool. Now, what is this W sub S business? W sub S is the smaller sum in the absolute value of the signed ranks. Okay, it's the smaller of the two sums. So, coming back over to here, we have 5 and 50, right? Those are our two sums. So we're going to use positive. So when we do here, we find these two sums, the sum of the negatives, sum of the positives, and we look at just the absolute values of those. Okay, so our WS is going to be 5 this time. So 5 goes right there. And so it's just 5 minus 27.5 divided by 9.8. Negative 2.29. Okay? So there's no difference before and after versus there is a difference. Well, if this is a two-tailed test, which it is, then we have z's of 1.96 and negative 1.96 if we're talking about 0.05. So we're out here. So what does that mean? Reject H naught, right? There is a significant difference. Now, it's pretty straightforward, easy to do. Yeah. So you know, we can do also, we could do lower tail tests, we could do upper tail tests. It's not a problem. Um, so suppose, you know, one your book does that's very similar to this is the cost of drugs, and it's a variety of drugs. So, you know, like your Viagra, for instance, would be here, and then of course where you bought it. So they are connected because it's the same drug, right? It's not like it's some different drug. I don't know, $17 a pill, $5 a pill. Oh, okay. I don't know, some other pill, pill A, B, C, D, E. Not important. I just, for instance, you know, just bring up one like Viagra. Here's some cancer pill. You know, hey, look. So everybody down here pays to get all the pills cheaper for the rest of the world. Isn't that great? You know, whatever. So it is what it is. So other countries can sell them cheaper, you know, for a lot of reasons, but one of which is they don't have to pay for all, or you know, we in the United States pay for a lot of the testing purposes. Okay? But whatever. I don't know. There it is. Okay. So when I do this, again, I'm going to bring up Excel, and I'm going to find those differences. And you know, I don't think I'm going to bother with the U.S. Canada thing at the top. If you want to, you're certainly welcome to. You will not be tested on that aspect of it. To me, I think it's kind of a nice thing to do, but it's not 100% important. Okay, cool. And again, you could subtract them in any order you want, but if you wanted to show, and it's not important which way you go with this, right? So I think we're probably under the impression that that drugs are cheaper in Canada. So, you know, that's what we would like to show, right? But it wouldn't be H naught, that would be what? Because if it's cheaper, that sounds like what? It sounds like less than. So that sounds like our H1. And then H naught is, you know, there's no, you could say that US is equal to or greater, or equal to or less than the Canadian price. And then of course down here, US is greater than Canada. Notice how the way I wrote it as an upper tail test. You could easily have written it the other way around, Canada less than US. It's up to you how you write it. In either case, though, it's a one-tail test. So if we're putting 0.05 in one tail, that's 1.644 or 5, however you want to round it, or negative 1.645. Okay, again, not terribly important to me. It's going to be one or the other. Now, you're going to see what happens in just a minute when we do this, one or the other. Okay, now, let's go over here and do this. So we want to find the differences. So equals this minus this. That's a positive difference. And my guess is I'm expecting more of them to be positive than negative if Canada is cheaper, right? That's what I'm thinking. So ABS, we're going to find the absolute value of these values, of these rankings, or we haven't ranked them yet, of those differences. Now we're going to rank them. So rank.average, this guy with respect to his population, like so. And then we're going to take the sign of the differences times this thing here. Why did I keep getting a stupid negative in there somehow? I don't understand how I keep doing that. Oh, there it is. I think I just hit it instead of the equal sign. There we go. And then you can do equal sum if, which I think is kind of a cool way to do it. And I want comma greater than 0. And then equal sum if -4. Take the absolute value of both of those, and you get 4, and you get 32. Now this test says we always use the smaller of those two, which is 4. So keep that in mind in a minute when I get to doing this thing. Because what I'm going to end up with is I'm going to end up with z equals that wilcoxon rank sum there, minus, and then what was it? It was n plus 1 over 4. And no, I don't have these memorized. Some of them I do, but not this one. Square root of, once I see it, I can usually pick it up by memory. For instance, this is the sum of a cubic polynomial or something. That's where that comes from. Now, what is n? N is the number of non-zero pairs. How many pairs do we have here? We had 8 pairs here, so our n is 8. So that's 8 times 9 divided by 4. 17 divided by 4 is 18. So as I said a minute ago, it's going to be 4 minus 18, right? Well, 4 minus 18 is going to give me a negative. Okay? So the idea that we are going to, when we do this, is that 1.645 or negative, well, it's going to be the negative one, right? Because this is going to be a lower tailed test. 17 divided by 24. And we're going to square root that sucker. No, we're not. We're going to square root him. And we're going to get 7-ish. 7.14. Right? And then, so that's negative 14 divided by that. Negative 14 divided by this guy is negative 1.95. Nice. Okay. So again, our picture up here, the way we drew it, is never going to truly be that way. Because remember, you can always write an upper tailed test as a lower tailed test. It's not a problem at all. Because I'm taller than you, you're shorter than me. That's saying exactly the same thing. Okay, so negative 1.645. And we are out here. And so because we are out here, what are we doing? We're going to reject H naught. And what are we saying? Oh, yes. Drugs are considerably cheaper in Canada. Are significantly cheaper in Canada. Ta-da! End of story. Congratulations. I give you the wilcoxon signed rank test. You're welcome.